Exciting.
All right, we are live.
So, hello everyone, whoever is watching this from the future. So everyone, let's please again quickly introduce ourselves since we lost the previous video. Chris, would you like to begin?
Yeah, sure. I'm the guy who started this. I just asked for some mastermind group. I'm Christian. I'm 25 years old from Germany. I live right now in Bangkok, and I started with JavaScript and Meteor around 6 to 12 months ago. And yeah, now I'm happy to build my second app at the moment. I built a little app before, and I'm looking forward to work with you guys on our sample app.
Cool, Rico?
I'm a consultant. I consulting companies in process optimization and organization, and I took a decision in the middle of 2015 to learn programming and to switch my career. So I'm hands full on this one.
Great. And Chad?
Hi, I'm Chad. I'm originally from Sri Lanka, living in Sydney these days. I work as a business system analyst. No much background in programming, but love media. So that's why I'm here.
Great. And then we have one more person from our group, but he's currently missing, so hopefully he can make it. He's going to introduce himself. And my name is Serkan. I've been into programming for more than 20 years now, and I met Meteor about 3 years, more than 3 years ago, just a little over that. And I've been happily programming with that since. And this is actually an interesting theme because almost everyone in our group comes from a non-programming background. I mean, not strictly non-programming, but Meteor seems to be the first thing that all of us actually have been using for creating actual stuff that people are going to use. And we're like, getting ourselves a new career out of this. So this is a great thing about Meteor. It's really easy to grasp, and it's really easy to build upon, and it hides away all the abstractions that make it hard to grasp all the concepts. So if anyone listening, watching this, and thinking, is it possible that I begin with Meteor? Yeah, you definitely can, and just give it a try. It's really easy to start off with, and then the community is really helpful, and you're gonna get there soon if you give it the required time and effort. So, guys, we have a few topics that we decided we would like to discuss during this 1 hour, and then if anyone wants to begin asking his specific question, just shoot. And let's begin.
Okay, the first topic was how to build packages and to publish them.
Okay.
It was that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. I'm interested in this topic because I was also wondering how to do that, and it seems to me so complicated. It doesn't seem to me something that it's a two-step process. So I'm interested in hear from experienced people how it can be done.
Okay. Well then, there are two aspects to the two sides to this story. One of them is beginning with Meteor 1.3, NPM integration is in the core. So that means we are going to be able to use packages from NPM, from the broader JavaScript community. But of course, since we also have Atmosphere, the dedicated Meteor package ecosystem, and it has its dependencies of the Meteor globals like template, like sessions, like Mongo and stuff. There are things we cannot directly use from NPM or publish on NPM, but they have to reside on Atmosphere. Having said that, this is also going to change in the near future. Sometime ago on the forums, I guess, someone from MDG, one of the core developers, had actually pointed out that this is where they are trying to head. So hopefully, in some not so distant future, we may be able to place all of our packages on NPM, and Meteor's own packages, the core packages, may also end up on NPM. This is not definitely something decided upon yet, but I think this is where they are heading. But we are developing now, today. So Atmosphere is a core and integral part of what we do as developers. Publishing packages on Atmosphere is actually really easy. First of all, Rico, you have to get your Meteor developer account. Have you done that yet?
Yes, I have it.
Okay, cool. So that's the first thing you do. When you do that, you just fire up your console, type meteor create package, blah blah, the name to your package, and it creates a default package structure. A package structure is a folder, a package.js file, and a file for your tests, and a file for the actual code that you're going to publish. That's it. That is actually really simple. The thing is, you have to abide by a few rules with the package.js file. It describes what your actual dependencies are, what your the files that are going to be included in the actual package are, what your testing files are, and what the package actually exports to the app that it's going to be used in, or to any other package that depends on your package. Have you ever checked the official Meteor docs about the packages section yet?
Yes, I checked. I don't know if it was the official documentation. I read a couple of blog posts. I have to be honest that I did it very quickly.
Okay.
I see some patterns, but I wasn't sure that wasn't so easy about the configuration. What I mean is that, for example, I find a lot of library that are interesting, and then I find on the Atmosphere if someone at least has wrapped these packages these libraries in a packages, and now I'm wondering if with the Meteor 1.3 if we can't bypass this procedure. We can import can we import libraries, any library with no problem?
Well, depends. Like this. For example, first of all, with Meteor 1.3, you can import anything from NPM. That's a given. But it has its own structure, so you have to follow the 1.3 post on the forum and the issue about Meteor 1.3 that is also posted on GitHub. It's not finalized yet. It's gonna be finalized soon. But the thing is, if something you're going to use depends on some Meteor core package, like templating, for example, like Blaze, like the MongoDB API, that just cannot be on NPM because the collection interface, the Mongo interface, is on Atmosphere, and it's a global given by Meteor. So packages on NPM, if they depend on other things, they have to be around where to be found. And since Atmosphere is a different closed box there, NPM and Atmosphere packages are not aware of each other. So that's the first thing you have to check. If something you're going to use has to depend on a Meteor core package or another package that is on Atmosphere, your package also has to be on Atmosphere. That kind of is a given. But apart from that, if it's basically an independent thing like moment.js or like or Lodash or something like that, that does not depend on anything Meteor specific, you can actually use it directly from NPM. Normally, pre 1.3, like with the current release of Meteor, if you wanted to use something from NPM, you have to, if you're not using the Meteor Hacks package from Oronoda, you have to wrap it within a package on Atmosphere because NPM support was only given 2 packages. A package can actually declare its NPM dependencies and then export its globals to the whole app. And there's this concept of exporting things globally in Meteor. So that's kind of the point of wrapping packages, making it available to the whole app. But the packages may provide a load order flexibility to you, so that's how you use it. But now you don't have to. So to basically answer your question, yeah, you can use it with Meteor 1.3. You can use use lots of npm packages. At least those have no dependency on Meteor.
Okay.
Frankly, anything that resides on npm doesn't have direct Meteor dependency. Therefore, it's next to safe to say that you can use them. But beware. Some packages export globals that conflict with Meteor. Some of those use the standard var context, and those are things that you have to be careful about. So, for example, if you go with your atmospheric package approach and use something from npm, but find out that that packages, for example, moment.js, its global is not exposed to your app, you immediately go check for the var keyword. That's
for
something
the, I'm sorry.
var, var.
For the var keyword.
Yeah. Because in the current Meteor, not 1.3, var means that variable, that declaration, is actually specific to that file, or to that that declaration resides in. To make it available to the whole app or the whole package, you just omit the var keyword.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and
that's the outcome gotcha.
Yes, I did something like that sometimes. Sorry. I did that someone. I have my voice coming back. I did sometimes that, but I'm always was wondering this polluting all these global variables. How much is impacting? How many times I can do it remaining safe? How much?
You're exactly right, and this is a concern many experienced developers have with Meteor. But again, thankfully, with Meteor 1.3, imports are coming. Yeah. So starting with 1.3, if you place your JavaScript files within a directory called imports, they are not exposed to your app. They are just ignored until you import from another file. Okay?
Okay.
So that basically makes it safer, so that the global is not polluted with all the exports from those files. They export explicitly, and you import explicitly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I had the same problems with session set and session get, putting a lot of sessions everywhere to get the state. Yeah.
All right then. The first word of wisdom: just forget about session.
Okay, I use it a lot.
At all, okay? Don't use session at all. There are much better alternatives. If you want the tight tracker integration and piggyback on the reactivity there, what you could do is using reactive var and reactive dict. They are actually great. So check out the reactive var and reactive dict documentation. By the way, you should definitely take a look at the official Meteor documentation. Perhaps take an hour to just skim through it and be aware of what topics are covered in there. And then next time you need something, you'll know where to find it. Okay?
Yeah. Do you suggest us as beginners to jump on Meteor 1.3 beta straight away, or to wait? Not yet. To wait.
Not today. Not today.
Okay.
Because I mean it's tagged as beta. Therefore, it has some problems. And NDG and the beta testers are making their best to iron out those kinks. But it's not going to happen today. So if you feel you're not very comfortable with the inner workings and the strange error messages you may possibly get, just keep a lid on that. Wait a few more weeks. Hopefully, it's coming out really soon. So
cool.
When it does, it will be easy to transition from 1.2 to 1.3 because 1.3 is fully backwards compatible. You don't have to change anything at all. Maybe a few things, but it's going to be documented explicitly, probably. So you can gradually change to the 1.3 structure, to NPM, to imports. You can do it one by one. Okay?
Okay. Okay,
Cool.
thank you.
You're welcome. So, who's next?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. All right, man. Give us a quick introduction of yourself. So, because since we lost our first video, this is our first official public video. So, anyone viewing this from the future gets to know you.
Okay. So I should start the introduction.
Hello?
Should I start with?
Yeah, we did already. We did already.
Okay.
You're the last.
Yeah, I'm an informatics scientist in Germany. I currently work at Fraunhofer Institute on EPS research, but I started to develop Meteor half a year ago, and I hope to produce some awesome apps in the near future. So I'm glad to be here.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Lucas. All right then. Who's next with this question?
Yeah, I can continue. So I have three small questions, more small I think. The first question was on the last session we talked about chat. Now I decided to make a chat which is saved like 14 days or something. And I'm just wondering if I still can use the streams packages or if I have to look into something else which saves the chat.
Okay. Let me repeat the question. Correct me if I understood it not that correctly. You want to create a chat app where you want to store the chat history, the messages, for up to 14 days, right?
Right, and it's just one-on-one chat, so no group chats, just one-on-one. Like
okay.
One. Yeah.
Okay, one-on-one. Okay, all right then. Well, for a one-on-one chat session, you don't have to rely on streams for that. You can actually use the MongoDB APIs. You can store messages on MongoDB because the one-on-one, the velocity of a chat like that is not too much. If it were like 50 people in a room, a couple of people sending messages simultaneously, and all of them getting distributed to all the other 50 people, it will be really hard on the database. But for just two people, you can safely assume that delivering your messages through the database, through the publications and subscriptions, is a safe and performant method. So for that purpose, you can just forget about streams and go with storing every message on MongoDB. Okay, and if you want to keep only 14 days or 2 weeks of messages, you have two alternatives. One of the alternatives is to create a capped collection.
Yeah. Or the other one is a cron job, right? It's a cron job.
Another one is to start a scheduled task to run perhaps every day to check for all messages that are older than 14 days and just delete them.
Okay.
The thing is, if you use a capped collection, you cannot tell MongoDB to store 14 days of messages. You can only tell MongoDB to store the number of documents, the number of messages available. So that can maybe one day the guys can chat a lot and they can fill up the whole collection, or maybe they don't chat so often and the collection doesn't get full for like 3 months. Who knows?
But is it per user, so per user peer, like it's a peer, one user and another user, so user A and user B? Is it one collection per peer, or is it one object or per chat? Like how would you structure the MongoDB?
Okay, well, okay. Now this is a question about how you structure a collection and how you structure your documents. Say you are going to design a chat functionality between two users, but then you have many users on your app, and any two users can have chat in between them. Therefore, you should probably have one collection that stores a reference to a chat room, perhaps with a given random ID, and then the messages from the first user, the messages from the second user, and their message dates. So that means a capped collection would have to store all the messages from all the users. So that again means if your site grows and the number of users grow, the capped collection may become small to hold 2 weeks of messages from all of them. So that means a capped collection may not be the best way to approach this problem, and a cron job to delete all the messages would be a better solution.
Okay, okay, I understand. Okay, I will try to figure that out till next week. Yeah. And my second question is about debugging. So I'm using the YogiBan admin panel, and I know that's not completely supported anymore, and there's a bit question about that. But it shows up, for example, 7 users, but it shows not up any data. So the question is more like, how can I know debug my application to find the mistake? I use already Meteor Toys, which shows me that the users are subscribed to the thing and published, but they don't show up in the backend in the admin. Do you have any like tip how to debug my application that I can find the error?
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, if Meteor Toys shows that the subscription is there and ready and it has data on it, but the admin package does not show it, then the problem is specifically on the admin package, probably. If you want to double check that, you can just open up your browser console on Google Chrome and like type the collection name find and then .count, and you will see the number of users there. And if that shows up the correct number, but you still cannot see it on the YogiBan admin interface, then yeah, the problem is there. How to
can you fix it? Can you fix a package? So that means
you can fix a package, but to be able to fix it, you have to fork it.
Okay.
So you can actually import a package, a third-party package, and then also apply a fix externally. You cannot do that. The way there are some things that you can do. There are some objects or functions that you can override. There are some things that you can monkey patch using some advanced JavaScript. But putting those aside, the easier method to fix a package is just fork it, and then probably send a pull request. And then how to debug that is another story. First of all, you have the browser console. You can start a debugging session. If you want to debug on the server side, that's another story. That's there are also some other alternatives to debug on the server side. For example, I think you're using WebStorm, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, WebStorm is actually great debugging both packages and server side and client side for it. So if you can start a run configuration with Meteor on WebStorm, just check out WebStorm's Meteor run configuration manual on the help page.
No, I run it already on. Cool. I run it and it's great. It's great.
Yeah, it's good. You can easily place breakpoints. You can easily track variables and their content and their values. So it's really helpful. But you can, for client-side debugging, you can do all that within the Chrome browser's developer tools. Okay?
Okay.
Developer tools actually has a debugger that we can tap onto.
Okay. Yeah, I will try to find out.
Okay, give it a try, and if you have specific questions about it, because this is a really general topic, I'll tell you the alternatives. Look around for them. Try to choose one of them and then come up with more specific questions with those, okay? So,
sure.
alternatives, you can use WebStorm to debug all around with the both client and the server and the packages. Or you can just use the Node.js debugger for your server side and the Chrome debugger for your client side. These seem to be your best two options. Apart from these, there are some helpful tools like Meteor Toys or the console itself to trying to get a sense of where everything is. But the first two things, two main alternatives are what you can go with. Since you are using WebStorm, I suggest you stick with that because it's, the IDE is going to help you a lot because people have preferences about what tools to code with. Since you have already chosen WebStorm, and if you're happy with it, stick with it.
I read all the articles what to use, and it's so funny that everyone is citing.
All right, then, okay, for example, just until next week, try to debug a small app with WebStorm and come up with your specific questions there, and let's discuss those next week. Okay?
Okay, sure, yeah.
All right, then, thanks. So, who's next? Oh, you had 3 questions.
I can continue.
Sorry, Lucas. Hold on a second.
Oh, no,
Chris, did you have another question? Chris?
Sorry, yeah, I just so last question was just about filters, but I think I can figure that out first, and then I ask you a specific question next week. So, or if you have any good filter, like I want to filter the people by age and by gender, for example. And I found some packages, but they are quite old and they're not really supported anymore. And you told me I can look into. Right, I made me a note. It was
Tabula from Earlit.
Yeah, Tabula, right. So I would look into that. It looks a bit complicated, but I think I can figure it out.
Okay. Well, it is actually really easy to use. It has built-in filter support and sorting support. The underlying package actually is the datatables.net package. Have you heard about it yet?
No.
Okay. Check out that URL, datatables.net. Let me check. That's the correct. Okay, I have multiple keyboards attached to the same computer, so don't ask me why. Yeah, datatables.net. That's the underlying implementation of the table, and what Tabular does is use it on the view layer and provide a mechanism to sync the data, the right amount of data. Take a stab at Tabular, and when you have specific questions about using Tabular, we can discuss them. But beware of these. When you display some information, the way to search and filter for it and the way to show it may be different. For example, you may want to filter for example, people of, I don't know, like, okay, let's say you have a column on your table that displays if the user is an adult or not, okay? So that means if the user is older than 18, then you say adult, and not you don't. Well, on the database, you're storing them with their ages. So if you want to filter by adult or not, that data is not directly available on the database. So you have to
but you can write to MongoDB, right? I mean, I made a MongoDB course.
Yeah, you can definitely write to MongoDB. But perhaps you don't want to normalize that. Perhaps you think that I do, for example, that the age information is just sufficient. I don't want to store the extra information about what that age means because I can deduct that by reason. So that means if I want to place a filter to filter out people who are not adults, that means I have to translate that filter to an age comparison.
But that you can write with you can write with a find MongoDB or not?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
I'm telling you about this because this is I think this is a main point of confusion when you are using datatables kind of structures to display information and filter information upon what is displayed, where the underlying data is not exactly what is displayed to the user.
Okay.
So this is a specific use case that you are definitely going to hit and have to figure out how to handle. But yeah, you're right. You have to translate that to a relevant query on MongoDB. like
Okay.
find less than or greater than 80.
Yeah,
Okay?
fine.
So that's what we're going to do. Cool. All right.
All right. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the questions. Lucas, go ahead. You are just about to fire away.
Yeah, I wanted to ask how to. Oh, I can't hear myself. Is it okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I wanted to ask how to measure the performance of a method before executing it. So in this issue I posted on GitHub, there I could handle some things differently. For example, currently in my implementation I have a local database on the client, and I subscribe to the events database, and then I generate the real events into this local database. And whenever something changes, I just dump the complete local database and recreate every event, and it works pretty well. But I think when there are a lot of entries, this may be bad in sense of performance, and I think probably it would be better to just delete the relevant queries from the local database and recreate the or create something in the local database. So for now, every update removes just everything and regenerates everything. And I'd like to know if I can somehow test the performance of this method before actually implementing it.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's really okay. I'll answer the easier question, the second one. It's really hard to measure the performance of some piece of code before actually, writing it down and executing it. Sorry. You can have a sense of what's going to be performance and what's not going to be performance. You can at least make a small reproduction of that use case with some, some part of the data, underlying database, for example, a small piece that represents the bigger picture, and try it on that, and see if the method works there. But still, it's not going to give you a definitive answer, because as your data evolves, as the contents of that data evolve, that may actually change things. So the best way in the end would be to actually develop the whole thing and then test how it goes, and then start optimizing on that. But yeah, I mean, in time, with experience, you are actually going to know what's going to work better and what's not. About synchronizing some server data and the different representation of it with the client, and dumping the data and then recreating it. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even sound like a great thing to do. You should be able to find a way to decide what has changed, and then just update that piece of information. The first instinct would be to ask if you can actually do it on the server or not. Can you do it on the server? Can you just, calculate the whole thing that has to be sent to the client and publish just that? For example, use observe or observe changes.
Yeah, probably it could be done on the server, but this is another thought I have. So when calculating stuff on the server, I probably load the server with tasks, and the usual user accesses the web page with a smartphone, and I think most smartphones have about 2 gigahertz or something. So it isn't that big of a deal to just say, okay, I do all the calculations on the client to de-stress my server. I don't know if this is a good approach, because then I have to do the calculation on every single client, and otherwise I had to do it only once on the server. But now I don't have to do it on the server.
Okay. Well, It depends on the use case. For example, your use case is very specific. You say you have mobile clients, and the CPUs of those clients are not really that powerful. So having all the clients calculate all of these things for themselves may be a burden on them and bad user experience. For example, I just finished off an application a few weeks ago with the reporting section, and the report says PDFs including lots of data, lots of charts, lots of different representations and calculations of the data. But the thing is, the users were desktop computers, pretty powerful, and then the underlying data is again a read-only representation of different sources aggregated using an aggregate query on the MongoDB. And what I did was generate the PDF on the client. I just sent the necessary data only, but again there's a calculation on the server, but the server only does data calculation, and then sends it down to the client. The client generates the charts, the tables, etc., and the PDF also itself. And that was a good use case for me. But if I were dealing with smartphones, I would have preferred to create the PDF on the server, perhaps even store a snapshot of that, and then serve it. So this is a thing you decide on a case-by-case basis. On your case, I would suggest make your calculations on the server. Since you're dealing with JavaScript and you're dealing with the same APIs on the server and the client, you can move away that piece of code from the client very easily to the server and do it there and just serve the end result. Or if you want that to be even more performant, if your use case permits, you could store the data, the calculated data, on a new collection, and then update that collection, for example, daily or a few times every day, and then serve that using a standard publication. That way, the client won't even feel that. He will just ask for the data and receive it and display it. If this allows for you to do, then cool, it would be great. And if you have more specific information about the structure of that data, write that down here, and let's discuss even more on that. Okay?
Yeah, I'm currently at the Global Game Jam, so I don't have any of my work console.
Okay, no problem. We have a Slack channel. Just share some of that with us when you have the time, and we can use that as a discussion. I guess that's also relevant to the app we're going to develop ourselves. So we could even use that as a learning experience for all of us. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Any other question from you?
Yeah, I got
okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
First one is about subscriptions and publications. What's the best way to get to the subscription? Is it on the subscription filters, or on the query itself you specify filters? What is the better way to do?
Okay, there is a slight problem with audio, chat. I only got a few words from you.
Okay.
No complete sentences, sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's better.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, I'm just wondering with subscription, how to filter queries. Is it purely based on the subscription itself, or is it better to do the filtering on the query?
Okay. Well, let's think of it like this. You have a complete set of data on the server, okay, waiting here for the client to get. But the client is interested only some part of that data. For example, you have basketball players. You have like 50 players on your database, and then there's going to be a match, and that match means there are going to be 10 players on the field. So the client is interested only 10 of those players, right? But the client also wants to know what team each player belongs to, or like the height, or the position on the field, etc., etc. Some and then the client maybe then decides to separate them depending on their qualities, etc. But the thing is, you need those 10 players on the client, on the field. So that means you don't publish 50 basketball players. You publish only 10 basketball players. So you have actually a query on the publication. You do not say players.find and publish. You say players.find like game ID equals blah blah. So you send only a set to the client. But on the client, you make further filtering, further queries. For example, players.find game ID this plus team ID this. So you separate them into teams. So this means there's no one single rule set about where to query the data. It depends on the amount of data wherever you need it. Okay. Based on this example, you could place queries on each end, but there are some cases that you don't have to query on the client. For example, you query for a certain piece of data on the server, publish that, and then on the client you just display all of it. Or there are some cases that you publish all the data from the server and then query only on the client side. So that depends on the specific use case and specific requirements about the app. But the thing is, the less data you send to the client, the better it is. Because if you send too much data, that's going to take up resources on the client. So you have to be, easy on the client and send as little, as sufficient as possible. That's it. Does that answer your question?
When you publish, you actually publish the entire collection?
No, you don't publish the entire collection. You publish only the relevant piece. You make a query on the server to find the subset of the data that you need on the client and then publish that.
So isn't it a thing that you only get the things that you need on the client?
Exactly.
But is it triggered from the client or is it pushed from the server?
The client asks for a specific publication that it is aware of. The client knows that, since you write the code, there is a publication that sends the team players. The players that belong to a specific game. Yeah. And then the publication knows that it has to send only that game's users. So the publication sends down. When the client asks for data, the server starts sending. Okay, and then
you can do the same thing on the query as you specifying a field or a parameter, right?
Yes, you can send parameters. For example, the client can say, I want game number 1 players. Or the client say, okay, now send me the players for game number 2. So that's a parameter that is sent down from the client. The client asks for some data, but the client doesn't ask for individual players. The client asks for a general description of what it needs. And then the server sends individual data pieces there. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Does that answer? Is that clear?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Why don't you check out the to-dos example? From Meteor.js, the website, the official tutorial.
Yeah. So let me give an example. Let's assume we publish everything on a collection to the client, and the client will subscribe to everything basically.
Okay.
But on the client, you can write a query, find team players in this game on the query. Yes. Yeah, that's one scenario. And the other scenario, having a specific subscription with that parameter.
Well,
And
you can have the server send everything to the client. That's okay. It's not a problem. Unless, what if your database contains 50,000 basketball players? So it's really hard for the client to get all of that data and then query on that, because it just needs 10 players. Why do you send 50,000 players, right?
okay, so basically publishing, does it like mirror, like push everything to the client?
Publishing is pushing the client, pushing the data that the client asked for. The client says, send me this, send me, okay. Let me put it this way. You have a players collection, okay? You have a list of 50,000 basketball players on your database. The client can ask for, send me all the basketball players who are female, or send me all the basketball players who are now specifically playing a game, or send me basketball players who are retired. So the client has different functionality. For that functionality, the client needs a subset of the data from the server. Now, you could actually send all the 50,000 players up to the client and let the client sort them out. But sending down 50,000 players is a huge thing. So we don't want that. So to make it more optimal and easy on the client, and maybe even for security reasons, we can say, okay, you want the retired ones, or you want the players who are in a game right now, here they are. And if the client also wants to work on that data to further query on it, separate them to their teams, separate them to their positions, etc., the client can do that by its own queries there. All right? Just take a look at the to-dos example. If you haven't already, it's a great example. You know, it shows you how to publish data, how to remove auto-publish, how to remove data that belongs to only a single user, etc. It's a great place to work and learn from it, and then come ask questions on the Slack channel. Okay?
Excellent. One more question.
Okay, go ahead.
Provided that, how do you best handle client-side temporary data? Like if you have multiple collections with links, and you don't want to commit those on the server yet until you go to the last step, like on a wizard or something. How do you handle that one?
Okay, since the audio is not coming through great to me, I'll repeat the question and then correct me if I'm wrong. You are asking if there are two different collections and the client needs data from those two different collections, how does it combine them, right?
No. So let's say you are making a scheduling, and it's a three-step process involving 3 collections. And you probably have to insert on each step of the 3 steps. But you don't want to do that on the server side, only on the client side. Also, you want to keep the relationship between those 3 collections.
Oh, okay, I see, okay. Well, I mean, first of all, if you're going to insert or update some data, or delete, change the underlying data, that's something you want to make sure that has happened on the server, definitely. Okay? You started on the client. The client first acts on the data and then sends that information to the server and says, here, I inserted something in this collection. The server says, okay, I'll do it once more here, and then let you know if it's done or not. If it's done, the client, it sends to the client, okay, the data is now inserted. So this is something called latency compensation. The client acts like it has done something, but actually asks the server to do it for real. When the server completes the operation, tells the client that it's now okay, it's done. Or if it cannot be done, tells the client, hold on, I couldn't do the insert. And the client says, okay, the insert has never happened. This is called latency compensation. There is something like that to create the impression of a fast user experience, to a performance user experience on the client. It doesn't wait for the server to show the initial response because it assumes that nothing is going to go wrong. Only corrects everything if something actually does go wrong. So, based on this information, when you want to insert some data onto 3 different collections, and then use relationships, that's something that's partly dependent on something we discussed last week. Do you remember transactions?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This is partly related to that. On the server, for example, you store. Let's just for the sake of example, work on 2 collections, not 3 collections. For example, you have some money, or even 1 collection, but 2 different operations. Even you want that. You have some money. You want to take that money from one person's account and put it on the second person's account. Now, what you can do is, create 2 different statements there. Now, update one of the users' account and then decrease some amount of money, and then within the second operation, increment that much on the second user's account. The thing is, if it's important to you that both things actually happen, and that if, for example, if the second operation does not go through and there's a problem in between, if you care about that, then you should be reading up on transactions. What we talked about last week, the 2-phase commit, or how to structure a transaction using some of those packages that we have discussed. If that's not important to you, it's okay. It's just 2 different database operations. But if you're interested in making sure they both have happened, you use the strategies we talked about last week. Using an intermediary table, placing some information there about what's going to happen next, and if it has actually happened or not. Did you have time to read on the MongoDB 2-phase commit article on MongoDB?
Yeah, I did. It is specifically, let's say, end user or a customer calling for a service, and you have to log that one as a sales inquiry.
Yeah, exactly.
And if the customer go ahead, then you have to log that one as a full service.
Great. Yeah, so that's the basic approach. Okay. Now, I don't really want to talk too long about that same thing because we took some time last week about it. But if you still, don't get it exactly, feel free to ask me, even 100 more questions about that on Slack. I'll do my best to answer that. But I'd also like to address another part of your question now. You also kind of talked about joins, how to take information from 2 different collections and then piece them together to show them. Okay?
That's not it.
Yeah, this is a tricky subject with Meteor. I mean, almost every new Meteor developer asks about it because MongoDB does not have joins. MongoDB doesn't know how to go to the users table, take information about that user and go to the for example, a game table and take information from a basketball game and then combine them together to show to the client. But what you can do is specifically on the server, take 2 separate data and send them together. Now, this is not, it sounds easy, but the thing is, there's this thing called reactivity. There's this thing that when the underlying data, when the underlying dependencies of that data change, what is sent to the client should also change. So to make this easy for you to implement, there are a couple of packages out there, especially the one called sorry, publish composite. Yeah, I'll just hang on tight. Yep, I'm just posting the link now. Check out this package called Raywood Publish Composite, okay? What this does is, for example, you want to display some information about the game and the users on that game, and the players on that game. Using Publish Composite, you can publish a single game, all the information regarding that single game, and then also go and query the players table, the collection, to find the players that are going to play on that game and publish that all together to the client. Okay? You post links here. Oh, yes. Okay. Where do you post the links, guys? Hold on, sorry. There's a chat. Okay, I hope this does appear on the YouTube channel now. Alright, what this package does is take the relevant pieces of information from those two collections and combine them together and publish them on the client. And whenever something changes on any of those two, either the players or the game, then it's, the difference is again sent to the client. So the client does not have to calculate what's going to change, or the server does not have to calculate what's going to change. Okay, read up on the README, read up on the examples there. And if you're stuck, come by me, okay?
That's a cool article and a good tip, by the way.
Okay. Great. Kayas, welcome. I'm glad you could join in. We need a quick introduction from you and then a few questions, because we are about to run out of time. You there? Yep, quick intro, Kayas. How about your mic? Okay, guys. The thing is, Kayas says he has a hardware problem right now. He doesn't have a microphone. Basically, he's just like the rest of the group here, except he's new to Meteor. Except he's a rocket scientist, and so yeah, a rocket scientist working on Meteor. Can you ask your question on the Slack channel, and I can
That's
read out?
introduction enough.
Yeah, it's
For some rocket science.
Can you write down your question? Oh yeah, he's writing it down. Let's see what he has. Yes, your question. So in the meantime, Rico has posted oh yes, Mongo schema design, right? Okay. I'm glad you posted this, Rico. There's one thing you need to watch out with MongoDB schema designs on Meteor. MongoDB promotes embedding documents when it's relevant to your data requirements. But Meteor does not promote embedding documents, because the way reactivity works on Meteor, the way the relevant changed data are sent to the client depends on the top levels of your documents. So if you have a collection structure like a game and then its players, I know this is a silly example in that sense, but that wouldn't actually work too great with Meteor. So if you want to watch that playlist that Rico just posted, beware that when it comes to embedded documents, it's kind of tricky. don't go with embeds. If you want, just separate and make them two different collections. It's not a big deal to make and join different collections, okay? So that's it. So, okay, Kaya says, no question. All right, no problem. So guys, we're just about over our 1 hour. If anyone else wants to ask another question, I have a few more minutes.
I would have a last one.
Yeah, cool.
We developed our app with Blaze and Iron Router, and now we changed to Flow Router. But we have problems with server-side rendering. I think everyone developing Meteor has problems with server-side rendering, at least when following the forums. And yeah, now my question is, I found this package of Flow Router version 4, I think. It's called Flow Router SSR. I post the link. If I understand it right, it hardly depends on React. So we already started porting our app to React, but do you have some experience with it? So is it just like programming the app with this package and React, and then all the worries are gone, or is it just like hacking around at another place?
Okay. Well, first of all, server-side rendering, well, it depends on what you want to do server-side rendering for. You could render on server-side, for example, to create an API endpoint, send down JSON data, for example. So JSON has to be rendered on the server and sent there, because it's not DDD. If you think in terms of an API. But that's another thing. Or you could use server-side rendering to, make your initial response faster. But for that, you have what was it called again? We talked about it actually. You have fast render. You could use that. But if you want server-side rendering for SEO purposes, and I guess that's what you're after, well then, it's a different story. First of all, I haven't used the Kadira Flow Router SSR package yet, so I'm not familiar with what its dependencies or what it works with or on. I think it does work with, Picker and Fast Render. Wow, it has lots of dependencies there. Okay, cool. Well, what I do for server-side rendering and for an SEO-friendly page, I use pre-render.io. That's my go-to solution because I find it easier. Because I find it just easier. I don't have to do anything. It's just pre-render.io sends down rendered pages for me. I don't even care about what happens on the server side itself. But I understand, you may not want to, deal with that. And then, if you want to do your own server-side rendering, what I've come to acknowledge is Blaze is not the best solution out there, or Spacebars is not the best solution out there. So instead of using Blaze and Spacebars and a routing package, you could go with React and a routing package that depends on React, so that your server-side rendering is much more dependable and it's easier to handle. So I know this is not a great answer for you, but well, this is kind of the state of things out there currently. So if you're actually concerned about rendering on the server, either go with an external third-party service like pre-render.io, or just gradually switch over to React, where it is much easier to render on the server.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
But in the meantime, by the way, I mean, this is not to trash the Flow Router SSR package or the Meteor Hacks SSR package, by the way. That's another good one. I mean, they both work. They both have been used for solving this very same problem. But I guess it's just time to leave that behind and move forward. By the way, Slow Router's next version, 4.0, or it's like the next version, I guess, is going to be is going to make it much more easy, much easier to handle server-side rendering, as far as I know. I'm also looking forward to that. Okay.
Okay.
So thank you, everyone. This has been a blast, and I'm glad that we were able to do this the second time, and I hope now it's going to pick up and go even much better. Let's continue this on the Slack channel. Let's start working on our app. We need to jot down our features there, and then soon start working on coding on it. I know Lucas there is really anxious to get going, so we gotta do that as soon as possible. So thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend and take care. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, man.
Okay. Bye.